What is up, people of the YouTuberverses? So welcome back. Today we're going to be carrying on getting everything lined up in the car. So we need to pull the front clip and get it trimmed and fit to line up well inside the current engine bay. So I cut this proud so I can shave the new one back slightly and then get everything to line up as need be. Off camera, I've actually gone through and started cleaning up a couple of the engine bay pieces. As you can see, I'm kind of okay to sit on it this time. But yeah, lots to do, lots of prep. So it's just going to be a bunch of montage of just bunch of montage of just bunch of montage of grinding, and then more grinding and more grinding. So I'll see how we time lapse this, make it look a little bit more cinematic, and yeah, enjoy. Sorry, I almost forgot what type of channel this is. This is the channel where we show you exactly what we do so that you guys don't make the same mistakes I do. But either way, what I've done is I've drawn on the previous clip that was on here, I went and made black marks. I don't know where you can see the other one. Probably down here at the bottom. But you see these little black marks that I've drawn on the red side of the chassis, right? Those line up with these holes. So all we got to do is just position that and get them roughly in the same place. And that's my dumb man's technique of getting these lined up. So I have them in both this position as well as on that side. So if we get that side lined up mostly the same, that side lined up mostly the same, I think we're in a pretty good position. I know that these edges that I cut on either side, those were cut fairly accurately. So these need to line up, those dots need to line up as best as possible. And then yeah, so that's what I'm using as guidelines so you guys know, and I'll let you know if that works or not, whether or not to do this in future. So let's go. Okay, so we're lining it up here, right? So we get that guy on that mark there, and we make sure that we start getting this guy to line up here. Now we can see that we need to pull in this way, and I can see now that in there, that's what's blocking me. So I'm going to start slowly pulling material away from there on the inside, then working our way there till that dot lines up with that, right? Like I said, very rudimentary, but I think it'll work. There at the bottom you can see we need to go in ever so slightly just to get those to line up, that to line up there, those to line up there. So pretty rudimentary method, but I think it's going to work. Okay, so after putting a small little tack weld there, we then went up here to the top, try to get that hole in line with where it needed to be there, and then went and checked also on the side and verified. You see how we're in line there. So now we know that we're at the correct positioning this way. We're more or less at the correct positioning this way. Now it's just getting this guy to line up a little better. There's a little bit of torsion in there. Might need to grind this section out a little bit just to give us a little bit more play. So overall with the passenger side, so this is South Africa, and you know, like the right side of the world, we drive on the left hand side, therefore we have right hand drive cars. So this is the passenger side, starting to look real good then. It's all just tacked in place for now. Now the driver side, this is the side that had the actual accident damage, as you guys can see there, and this one is already appearing to be a lot more difficult than the other side. So yeah, wish me good luck. We'll go from here. Okay, so here we are. Fast forward a little bit. I did a lot of work off camera, just because I don't know, sometimes you forget. Either way, so this is where we were. Got to a point where I had welded that together, welded some of that together, Got everything lined up where I thought everything was good. As you can see, I was test fitting the fender, light and everything. Then we ran into a little bit of a hiccup where we went, okay, that bolt hole lines up, that bolt hole lines up, that one doesn't. That bolt hole underneath is around about there. So we went to the other side and we tried to test to fit the fender, and let me quickly grab that. There's the fender on. So then I was like, that bolt hole lines up, and then I was like, wait, this one didn't initially, now it does. And then that one was completely off, and way off. Then we were like, hold on, let's figure out why it was bowed so much. So we started chipping away, and I don't know if you can see there how much of a lip of body filler all of that is. And that was all the way here on the side. So this eventually actually bowed out this way. So I thought, okay, no big deal. Trying to figure out why this still wasn't lining up. Then I realized, okay, this metal is not that good of a reference material to work off of. So we threw the headlight on. After putting the headlight on and closing the bonnet, sorry, we then noticed that the bonnet would overlap the headlight around about that much, which is a problem. Then I looked here on the side, bolt holes didn't line up over there, and when I tried to throw the bumper on, the bumper was sitting tilted this way, so away from that. That's when I realized that fender is not a good reference fender, right? So I need to know exactly where we need to be, and I can't do that off of metal. So, same reason we replaced the front here was we needed to make sure we had good metal. Now we got to replace that to make sure we have good metal, and that's where these come in. Okay, so while these look like aftermarket fenders, they are not. They are solid steel fenders. It is the original fender with cutouts and vents and things made there. But the important part is top section, perfect, uncreased, full steel fenders, right? Now, with those lined up on there, let me do that there for you quickly. So with the blue fender bolted on, right, we see we got the nice straight edge here. We lined up, mostly there with that bolt. Over here, we lined up mostly with that bolt hole. And again, the end one is off and the end one is around about here, right? So with that, we now know that we know two things. Did the tail as old as time. We measured once, we cut once. Should have measured twice, should have cut once, should have welded once. But with that being said, I know that we're about 15 mils out, that we need to come out more. So we're currently too close to our firewall, so we need to come 15 mils this way. And we also know from this fender here, which I had the blue one on there previously, if I get that section lined up flat, or lined up, let's say, with this corner and that corner, we're sitting at about 1.5 mils, or not 1.5 mils, 15 mils too high there at the back. So we know that as a whole, the whole thing is about 15 mils too far in and too high. So we need to go down and this way. So, plan. We have a bunch of steel sheets, as you can see, super flexible. This is about the same thickness as the fender, what do you call those things, wheel wells themselves. And then we have a thicker bar for the top rails that you guys would have seen me have welded fully. I'll show you that one now. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. This is the thicker metal, right? As you can see, this is about 1.5 mils thick, if I'm not mistaken. And then this is about 1.2 mils thick. And those two pieces of metal we got is around about 1.5, 1.6, and 1.2 or 1.3 mils thick. So we're going to use that as filler metal. So here's the plan, right? We're going to take this metal, and we're going to cut off everything we've done here already. We're going to cut that there, recut all of that again. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that metal on the underside, weld it to the underside, space this out, then weld it here on top on each side. We'll have then a little, 1.6 mil, depending on what the thickness is, gap between there, but obviously we'll be able to space it as we need to. So there'll be a height difference because of the filler metal at the back, and then this will rest on it on both sides, right? So that'll be welded from the bottom and then welded from the top. We'll then fill that with body filler and then make all of that nice and smooth. For the top section there, we'll do the same thing. We'll fold the metal on the inside and then weld between the two and then fill. I think that's going to give us the best way to get us out and down And that method was also approved by Thailand, so thanks, Thailand. So what we'll do is we'll pull all of this off. This was just me trying to get a reference, just so you guys can see. I'll show you quickly with the bonnet closed. Here you can see the body line is slightly off. Now, with that being said, this fender's also not on fully. Here we have a little bit of overlap that we need to play with, but also if we see here, this leading edge is about 1 centimeter or 10 mils out. So when we space it forward, that should then line up a little bit better. We'll get that gap there, and then with this actually dropping down, that should bring our line in this way. For that side, let me put the other fender back. Okay, I didn't bolt this in, so it's going to look a little bit crooked, but you're going to take my word for it. But you can see we have 2 clean edges there with everything lining up here. Now, remember I said that the bonnet was stretching over about, it was probably about 20 to 30. Good thing it's already broken. The bonnet was stretching over the headlight around 20 to 30 mils. One thing that we did notice is over there, if you can see, that was also repaired. So my guess between this bonnet and that fender was that they just fitted up and then body filled everywhere till they got the lines right. If you actually look at it, this top angle there, if I hold the camera as straight as possible, if you look at that angle, it's pretty good, maybe like 5, 7, 8 degrees. If we go over to this side and I line that up the same way, you can see it's a lot shallower of an angle. So I believe that they've just basically filled this in however they wanted to. But now we're working with clean metal that side. We have the second fender here for clean metal that side. We have the new radiator support, which is clean metal there. We know now how we can space everything. So with that being said, I'm going to recut the whole front end off, put that metal in. How much of this is I'm going to record? Not too sure. You know, you kind of get things done more off camera, so I might see you guys once I get everything spaced again. And yeah, okay, so we have removed everything once again, and if you see over here, we started cleaning up a little bit better here and pulling off some of the old steel that was there. So now you can see the logic behind what we want to do here. So here, if we look at the back, you'll see that there is a little bit, there we go, a lip over there, right? So on that lip, what we're going to do is we're going to line that up, close that gap, weld that in there, and then when this thing focuses, there we go, that'll look like that. We will then go and overlay the other one on top of it, weld that together, fill the little gap in between, and boom, we should be done. So yeah, next up is going to be measuring this and cutting it out and cleaning up the back over there so that we can get some nice little tack welds and everything in place. Weld that in the certain spots, get that up, hammer it into place, shape, form. This guy, figure out how he goes. We're going to use some rods to get measurements off of the car we actually bought those fenders from. So yeah, let's go. I'm going to put that in the video. Okay, so lights have gone out, but okay, so I've added in little arms there. Don't judge the welding. Welding's shit, but penetration is good. So yeah, we've gone and put in the backing material. Like I said, you can see we're starting to get the curve and everything right there. We've added some tacks back there. Pew 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 pew. What we're going to do is, and yeah, as you can see, the penetration is good. Yeah, penetration. So I know welds aren't pretty, but they are functional. So next up, we have to go and take that and try and put it onto here. Now the difficulty here is the curvature. Oops, I can only use one hand at a time. The curvature there doesn't match the actual wheel well, so we're gonna have to bang that in and bend it a little bit to get it to match, so that we can get that to fit on there. But other than that, so far so good. Maybe you guys can get the picture of what we're doing now. These ears here are just to extend obviously this. The metal, as you can see, is actually a lot thicker than the original metal, so yeah, doing that, I don't see an issue with doing that. And what we'll do is, if it's looking gack or anything, we'll just fill it in with the thinner gauge metal on top, just to make it look a little bit better. Sorry, the lighting's a bit bad there, but yeah, all in all, we're gonna call it a night for now, and yeah, see you guys probably next week only. Okay, so I know I haven't been filming much, and I apologize for that, guys, but yeah, trying to get a lot of the stuff done off camera because it's a lot of back and forth, and yeah, But so to show you what's happened, you'll see there is filler metal underneath there, and filler metal underneath there. Now I can move that out the way. You can see that we've had to space everything out. We were out a little bit, so now I've gotten my measurement. It's from this bolt hole here at the back till there is a bolt hole just underneath this here, and that is 760 something, 796, something like that, to that point. And then from that same bolt hole to this over here, you can see it's supposed to be 679. So from there to here, I think we're about at like 677, somewhere around there. I'll remeasure now and show you exactly. Oh no, sorry, 679 is from here to the center of that stud. Yeah, but yeah, we're almost, I think we're very close there. But as you can see, I've started to test fit a bunch of everything up now, and the gaps aren't looking too bad. Yeah, I know this is because if you see that there is a kink on that corner, so that's why this isn't lining up as it should. I'm hoping it will pull itself. It's also not bolted in there on the side. We do have a little bit of a gap there. The bonnet's got this gap here. Once that's closed, I'll show you. We've got a little bit of misalignment there, but the fender's not fitted properly because issues on that side. We'll get to that. I still need to adjust the door and everything there. But this is the progress we've made so far. So sorry once again I haven't been showing a lot of the work, but when I go through, all of this has to come off. This is all just temporary. As you can see, a bunch of stuff, this isn't welded in place. I think I have one tack here just to hold that in place, so I was getting my measurements right. When I pull this all off again, I'll actually do some videoing here and show you guys everything from the underside, and how we're going to treat the back and everything else. But yeah, I'm going to call this a night, and yeah, see you guys next time.